Hey, welcome to Module 28. Today I'm going to show you how to use Zillow.com to research properties. Zillow is a great website that I highly recommend if you want to find properties for purchase, or maybe you want to find properties similarly to yours to determine how much you can rent your property for, or if you're looking for sold data, you want to find what prices properties have recently sold for to help you determine the ARV of a potential investment property. Zillow has all three of these opportunities for you as a real estate investor to do research and come up with, different numbers, comparables for renting or selling an investment property, as well as using Zillow to find properties to purchase. So today, let's get into the tutorial on how to use Zillow.com.
Today I'm going to walk you through how to use Zillow.com to research real estate investment properties, as well as how to find other data. So first of all, you're going to need to come here to Zillow.com, and it's going to bring you to this home page here where you have an option to type in an address, whether you want to buy, rent, sell, or get a Zestimate. For our purposes, we will not be using Zestimate, as it's not usually a recommended feature because a lot of homeowners try to use it to see what their property is worth, and it's usually not very accurate compared to what a realtor is going to help you price your home for. So typically, if you're going to use Zillow.com, I recommend just using the buy, rent, and sell features to look up any type of information and data. So we'll go ahead and start with buy. So you want to enter address. So we'll say we want to buy a home in Miami, Florida. So we'll type in Miami, and that's our area that we're investing in for this tutorial sake. So when we type in Miami, Florida, it's going to bring up an outline map here. You can see the blue outline. So that's, this specific region. Now if you wanted to widen your search, you could just type in Florida, and it'll give you the entire state of Florida, and then you could zoom in and find Miami, or you could somehow type in, just maybe the county, Miami-Dade, Broward County. So overall, right now, with just this little section here that is outlined, we've got over here over 23,600 results, and that's a lot. So that's because everything is so far, our search has no specific criteria set. So that's what you want to use Zillow for, is to narrow down criteria. So first of all, listing type. Everything in the for sale is checked. Potential listings are all checked for rent, and then recently sold. So for this purpose, we're trying to buy an investment property, we'll say. So we want to uncheck potential listings for rent and recently sold. And that's going to limit now our results down to 3,700, which is what's currently for sale. Now, if we're shooting for a price range, we can set our limits here. So we'll say that maximum I'm looking for an investment that's 200,000 or less. So go ahead and type that in. That cuts us down now to 293 results. So we're getting more narrow. You can come here to bedrooms and bathrooms. Let's say typically maybe you only want to buy investments that have at least 2 beds. You don't want any 1-bedroom properties. So that'll narrow us down to 166 potential properties. And then home type, we have houses, apartments, condos, townhomes, manufactured properties, and lots and land. So we don't want lots, we don't want manufactured, we don't want townhomes. So, and let's say we aren't that interested about condos right now. So we'll go ahead and do houses and apartments, and that's going to bring us even more narrow, down to 98 search results. Alright. Alright, and now we've got the final tab here, the More tab. So you can set how many baths, square footage, lot size, and days on Zillow. But for purchasing Alright, so now we've got the final tab, the More tab, which will allow you to set how many bathrooms, square footage, lot size, year built, and days on Zillow. But for this purpose, we want to keep our search as wide as possible with what remains. So we'll go ahead and hit apply. So we've got 98 search results in the Miami area. So you can zoom into a specific area if you know your city real well and you know there's certain locations that you're looking to invest in. So if we're looking, it looks like the bulk of the homes in our criteria are going to be up in North Miami. So we could zoom into North Miami and check out all these different properties. You can just click on them one by one. So click on this one and it brings up your all the property information. So it shows it's for sale for $74,000. It's only 667 square feet. So as you can see in this picture here, it looks like it's just a little rectangle box you're living in. It's only 600 square feet. So real estate's pretty expensive in Miami. If that's all the space you're getting, for 74,000. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath, and you can read the description, and then it gives facts, so lot size, what type of home it is, year it's built, how many days it's been listed on Zillow. So if it's been on Zillow a long time, it's likely had a lot of views and all-time views, so that means people are checking it out, but nobody's really been interested. So that could be a red flag if a property's, been on here for 300 days or 200 days. And then it gives some other information. Price per square foot, $111 when it last sold. And then down here you can get price and tax history, and then it's got a bunch of different information, and then you can find similar homes that are for sale. So that's what you can do to find properties for sale. And then if we want to find properties for rent, we just click rent, and you can zoom back out, and when you zoom in it narrows your search results down to that area. But it looks like when we zoom out, there's only one property for rent that met our criteria, and that's because sometimes it'll automatically fill in limits here. So if we remove this limit, it should open up to more results. So there we go. Now we have 1,500 results. So we can narrow it down. Let's say max rent. Let's say you're in an area where you can't rent more than $2,000, so you could set $2,000 as your limit and see what kind of rents other properties are going for that are 2 beds. And we set the criteria for houses and apartments and no baths. So right now our criteria is not very narrow, but you can see what other 2-bed properties are going for. So it looks like a lot of them are between 1,000 and 2,000. So we can click on one and see it's 1,600. It's an 847 square foot property. So for renting, you're probably going to want to set similar square footage. So if your property is 1,500 square feet, you can do 1,300 to 1,700. So you kind of narrow the range down to properties that are close to 1,500. And now you can see it got rid of a lot of results. So 1,800, 1,900, 1,400, 1,900, 1,800, 2,000. So the majority of these, are roughly 1,800, 1,900. So that might be an indication that if you're in this area, your property could rent for about 1,800 if it's a 2-bedroom and it's between 1,300 and 1,700 square footage. So that's the for rent feature. We'll go ahead and uncheck that, and we'll do recently sold. So this is another great feature why I like using Zillow. If you're trying to see the after repair value of a home that you want to potentially flip or sell, you can come here and see what other homes have recently sold for. So let's say we were in the Gables, so we'll come down here to the Coral Gables, and we had an investment property we were looking to flip in the Gables, and we'll say it has 4 beds, and it will do a house only because it's a 4-bedroom house. So we'll uncheck everything and leave houses, and then square footage, we'll say our 4-bedroom home was 2,400 square foot to we'll do 2,700 square feet. We'll say that our house is 2,500 square feet. So we'll set a range pretty close to that so that we get some properties that are similar, but we'll limit our pool if we put 25. So that's why I'm doing a range here, so we get a few more results to show up. And then we'll say it has 3 baths. So we'll hit apply, and we don't want to set a price limit, so we'll take that out. So we've got a 4-bedroom home and it's a house. It's 3 baths, and it's 2,400 to 2,700 square foot. And the last thing you want to do is you want to see properties that have sold, particularly probably in the last 90 days. You could extend it out to 6 months if your area hasn't had a lot of home sales, but Miami has a lot of volume for sales, so we'll go 90 days and we'll hit apply. And so here we are in the Gables, and we've got about 14 results, so we could narrow our search back out, to 6 months if we need to. But what you want to do is, find your neighborhood that your property's in. So if our property, was in, we'll say it was in this neighborhood over here, we've only got one comp to go off of. It's almost 2,500 square feet. It's a 4.3 just like our property, and it went for 345. So that would be a comp that our potential property, if it was in this neighborhood, could sell for 345. If we were over in this area, we could see, it's selling between 290, 295 to 380 being one of the higher comps. So that gives us a little bit of a range. So that's hard to work with. There's not a lot of comp data there. So maybe we extend it out to 6 months and we get a few more data inputs. So now we can see, if we were in this region, in this neighborhood, that these ones were going more for around 360, 380, 381. So now we know if we had a property around these streets that it could potentially go between 360 and 380. In order to know some more details on these properties, like what kind of finish they were, you can click on them. So in our case, we were looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. This happens to be 5 beds, 4 baths. So that's actually, gonna probably be more expensive than our home. We're gonna have to discount our comps because we don't have the extra bedroom and bathroom. So I don't know. It's hard to say if somebody will be willing to pay 380 for our property since it has less beds and baths than this comp, but it just depends. You could maybe try 380. So that's how you would use this Zillow.com to find comps. You can enter all your criteria and then try to find what similar properties have sold for recently, and that'll give you an idea what your property's potential after repair value could sell for. So that wraps up the tutorial today on how to use Zillow. You can come here and use the for sale, potential listings, for rent, and recently sold features, and then set all your criteria to match what you're looking for. So I hope this video helps, and it's a great tool I highly recommend you using when you're doing research for your investment properties. So thank you for watching, and be sure to check out our other real estate investing tutorials or subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Nick Foy with under30wealth.com, and thanks for tuning in.